One. Have you ever been discouraged by your starting point? Have you ever felt hopeless for the victory you imagine yourself having? Have you ever been made to feel that you can't obtain it? You'll never succeed. Cinderella, she had a stepmother. Cinderella had a stepmother. That means that this woman married her father. She lived in the house. Her father died, and her stepmother and the two stepdaughters. That means the woman had two daughters when she met the father. And the father had a daughter when he met the stepmother. And so now there's a house of four women. There's four women in the house: Cinderella, stepmoms, and the two stepsisters. The stepmother somehow was bitter against Cinderella. She didn't like Cinderella. She couldn't stand Cinderella, maybe because she represented the remnants of an old relationship that her husband had with somebody else. Maybe Cinderella looked like her mama. The stepmom couldn't stand Cinderella. Y'all praying with me? Because I feel resistance, but we're going to get there. Cinderella, she was the black sheep of the family, the rejected one. That her stepmother was socially ambitious and wanted great things for her daughters, but she would not include Cinderella in her activities and her promotions. She would put her daughters up there, but would keep Cinderella at home to do the cleaning and to do the grunt work. Cinderella was rejected. She was beat down. That every time she tried to rise, stepmoms would snatch every bit of dignity from her and do everything she could to make her feel small. One day the king decides he wants to find a bride for his prince, for his son. And he puts out a message to the entire kingdom that all of the damsels and maidens of the kingdom should prepare themselves to present themselves before the king, before the prince. He wants to choose a wife for him. The whole kingdom is in uproar, and everyone is excited. Everyone buys their best clothing to go to the ball that has been thrown for the choosing. And Cinderella is not invited to the ball. She's not allowed to go, but she has visions of herself being included in this. And she's walking around the house with her broom. She's dancing with her mop like it's the prince. She's got skills. That's my music. That's my music right there. They better have my band music. She's dancing with the mop and the flowing hair of the prince. She leans. She's imagining. And her stepmother says, "What are you doing all that for? You're not going." You ever had somebody just want to stomp on your dreams? So, make this long story short, the ball happens, and Cinderella, she gets some help. She gets favor, some supernatural favor. I don't want to talk about the witchcraft. Just stay with me. This is my sermon. She gets supernatural help, and they prepare her. This help gives her entree into a place, and her pumpkins is turned into a chariot. Her rats are turned into Clydesdale horses. Her raggedy slippers turn into glass slippers. Her apron is turned into a beautiful gown. She steps into place, and she's so beautiful. Nobody knows where this wealth and this beauty has it been around us all this time. Where did she come from? Who is she? And she gets to dance with the prince. She is Cinderella, the same person, but her circumstances have been changed by favor, and now she's dancing with the prince. It's not a mop. Everyone is jealous because he's enjoying her. They're laughing and giggling, and he's enamored with her. But the clock turns 12, and she's got to get home. And so her chariot turns back into a pumpkin, and her dress turns back into an apron. And at least she had experienced what it could feel like to be accepted. She's got to go back to reality. But at least she can say, I had the experience. She's at home, her swagger has changed. Because she had a moment to feel and experience what it could be like. She's around the house, and now nothing they say can affect her, because she, at least one time, I tasted what it felt like to be included. Cinderella, you can't break her spirit, and now it's something. I wonder if I can get somebody to just go along with me on this one. Have you ever been discouraged by your starting point? Have you ever felt hopeless for the victory you imagined yourself having? Have you ever been made to feel that you can't obtain it? That you'll never succeed? You ever felt and been told that you'll never be on top? He came out of nowhere. They're going to say we came out of nowhere. He came out of nowhere is an English idiom. It is an English idiom that communicates the fact that there's folk who never expected you to come up from the position you started in. Yeah. It is an English idiom that describes the belief systems of folk who watched you and underestimated your potential. I wonder if I'm the only one that's been in a situation where people have underestimated your potential. Oh, y'all not really hearing what I'm saying. Come on, Nehemiah. I'm building a wall, and Sanballat and Tobiah says, oh, look at them building a little wall. A squirrel will run across it, and it's going to fall down. You ever had haters around you who had no aspirations in life and got mad because you felt that you could climb out of the dungeon? He came out of nowhere is an English idiom that not only describes folk who underestimated my potential and never expected me to come up from a position, but they overestimated, this is the opinion, that they overestimated my circumstances. That not only did they not believe that I could come out of it because I didn't have potential, but they thought that the grip of my past, the grip of my position and circumstances, that was so strong that I couldn't make it out of it. He came out of nowhere. Not only did they believe that it underestimated my potential, overestimated my circumstances, but he came out of nowhere means that they undervalued my destiny. That they had already written, they read my story, they read chapter 1 and thought they can jump to conclusions on the end of the story. I dare someone to interrupt me right now and say, I am not ending where I started. Come on. They undervalued my destiny, and they not only did they undervalue my destiny, but they overvalued my past. Some folk who can't see past your past. If I was making investments, I'm watching a commercial and they're telling me to buy stock or to invest in this business. Before the end of it, they have to add a disclaimer that says that past performance is no guarantee of future returns. They're saying that though we have done well in the past, it doesn't mean that we are guaranteed to do well in the future. That is with stocks. But I'm coming this morning to convince somebody to say, though I may not have done well in my past, it is no indication of how God is going to perform in my future. I am not locked in, neither am I cursed to repeat yesterday. I am saying that God has a great destiny for me, and those who have counted me out can't count. I'm sorry for this word being too simple and seeming that it's too good news, but here's the truth of it. Every once in a while, you need to be reminded that God has a plan for your life, and that plan is good, a good plan, and it cannot be thwarted by the opinions of your enemies. They're going to think you came out of nowhere, but look at somebody and say, it came out of Christ. Out of the clear blue sky. Out of the clear blue sky. Your come up is going to be so ridiculous to some folk. It's going to be as ridiculous as rain coming out of a totally blue sky. How's it raining on your life when I saw no potential in your future and now you need an umbrella? I just need one person to believe my report today. That this, just because there are doubters in your circle, I need you to protect yourself that you don't become your own obstacle. See, it's okay for them to think you came out of nowhere. That's fine. I can't blame my enemies for thinking lowly of me. But if I start thinking like them, then I'm my biggest enemy. My success is not an accident. My prosperity is not a coincidence. That this season in my life is not serendipity. But God had a plan for me from the jump. Oh God. Out of this, when people say, see, here's the hater language. When they say you came out of nowhere, it's because they say there's no basis for your victory. You just got lucky. The devil is a liar. Luck ain't got nothing to do with it. God has been orchestrating this next season in my life since the day I was conceived. Since before I was conceived in my mother's womb, he knew me and ordered my life, the good and the bad, the ups and the downs. He has designed it so that I might get to the place where he can use me for his glory in this season. I need someone to just shout me down right now and say, God set me up for this season. Your obscurity right now is only a setup. I watched the life of Jesus in these next few minutes before I sit down. I watched the life of Jesus, and he experienced a season of great rejection and shame and guilt and obscurity, and he did it for us. You're experiencing things that he experienced, and he says that we look unto Jesus, the author and finisher of our faith walk, who for the joy set before him, he endured the cross, despising the shame, and is not now set down at the right hand of God. I need someone to understand that your present position, you are in the right place because it's proof that God is at work in your life. That if you are not where you want to be, but you have birthed in you, you have growing in you a knowledge and understanding of a bright future. You got dreams bigger than you are right now, and you're frustrated by the fact that what's in you is not matched by what's outside of you. You have gotten confirmation today that what you see is bigger than what out there. Oh my God, look at your neighbor and tell him God's up to something. that my dreams are frustrating me with my present address, and it does not match. Something's bigger in me that I'm dancing with a mop right now, but there is a prince. Wait, oh, you're not hearing what I'm saying. I'm sweeping up the living room of a wretched woman, but there is a palace waiting for me with servants waiting to bring my will to pass. Somebody holler, I'm not going to be here long. Jesus experienced obscurity. He met his disciples in Nathaniel. Nathaniel, he says to Nathaniel, come follow me. He says, they said to Nathaniel, we found the Christ. And he says, can anything good come out of Nazareth? Jesus is calling his disciples, and before they follow him, they're asking about his pedigree. I know where you're from. You're from Slowbomb. I know you're from Boogie Town. You ain't even from New York. You're from Yonkers. Can anything good come out of the Hassell family? Can anything good come off Ravine? Can anything good come off Palisade? Can anything good come out of the circumstances that the Lord dragged you out of? Can anything good come out of abuse? Can anything good come out of abandonment? Can anything good come out of rejection? Can anything good come out of West Virginia, North Carolina, out of Trinidad, out of God? Can anything good come out the rooms? Jesus felt what we feel when people underestimate us. He felt the rejection. Before he was even born, his family was summoned by the IRS of Rome. Report to Bethlehem before April 15th. That's how I know he wasn't born in December, because they went there to pay their taxes. They get there to pay the taxes, and the baby is ready to be born. They go to the hotel to check in and reject it. There's no room for him in the inn. So they have to find some shelter for her to give birth. And they find an empty spot in the manger. There's an ox over here. Bull. And there's some bull on the floor. There's a chicken. Chicken scratch everywhere. Old McDonald had a farm. On his farm, he had a pig. There's a pig over here. I remember the animals on the farm and the manger. And there's sheep everywhere because it's Bethlehem. They scoop away the sheep dung and the bull. The sheep dung and the bull. They put some hay down, and Jesus is born right in the middle of the bull. I thought I was at the right church. Countryman at the right church. He comes in the world in the middle of a bunch of y'all can't identify. You couldn't choose your family. You were born right into the circumstances that gave you. But he was born low enough so he can lift us all. See, if Ron was here, he could help me with this. If Ron was here, see, Jesus was a prime mover. Not just as Socrates speaks of him as the prime mover, that every cause has a cause, and God is the cause of all causes, uncaused himself, that he is the prime mover. I'm not talking about that way. I'm talking about it. Ron has a moving company, and so did Jesus. He had a moving company. He moved our sins off of us. And one of the things about preserving yourself as a mover is that you got to learn how to pick stuff up. And you don't pick up stuff with your back. You pick it up with your legs. And see, if you're going to lift up heavy stuff, you got to get under it. You got to get under it. See, some of you too high to help anybody. You're going to pull your back out trying to help them. But some of you got to get down there and get down low and say, look, I've been where you are. I'm not afraid of a little bit of bull. See, some of you can't even take an usher not speaking to you and you run away. You ain't ready to be used. But when you can bear offense and keep coming and squat down in the middle of a mess and say, yeah, your breath smell like crack, but God lifted me out of it. He's going to lift you out of it. Jesus got so low, he was born in a manger so that the lowest of us. I'm sorry, that's too strong. That's too strong. That's too strong. He got low. He was despised and rejected. Came out of obscurity, out of nothing. Some of you too self-important to be used by God. You're complaining about your circumstances, not realizing that he gave you those circumstances to get you low enough to be helpful. There's folk that can't minister in this community because they were born too high. They can't identify. The scripture says we have a high priest who can be touched with the feeling of our infirmity. Nothing worse than trying to minister to somebody you can't identify with. One time, we were having tea and the leaves came out the bag. And I was so thirsty, but I couldn't drink the tea because there was leaves in the water. Leaves in your water? What about lead in your water? He came so low that he can reach the worst of us. It looked like he came out of nowhere, but he came to make an exchange. I said he came to make an exchange. I got 6 minutes. That's all I got. 6 minutes. 6 minutes, Doug, get fresh. He came to make an exchange. Somebody say exchange. He came to take what you have and give you what he has. He says there was no form of him, Spence. No form. This is what it says. There was no form because Philippians chapter 2 says it this way. He says that he who was equal with God thought it not robbery to be equal with God, but he emptied himself and he took on the form of a man, a servant, and even died as a criminal. He didn't come as God. He didn't come as a man. He didn't even come as a servant. He came as a criminal. He took on that form. He says so that when we look at him, there's nothing glorious about him. There's no beauty, there's no symmetry about him. That he's still suffering from his asymmetry because people, the world, look at him and they can't understand what's so glorious about him, what's so beautiful about him. This is why they don't want to receive the gospel, because they're looking for something more glorious than a cross. But he came to exchange. He came to give me something that I didn't earn. What he's about to pour out in your life is not going to make sense. Your friends are going to be counting. Hey, wait, you did this. Something ain't right. How'd you get that? That came out of nowhere. No, it didn't. It came out of Christ. Is he able to make all grace abound towards you, that you may abound unto every good work? Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? I know you've been convinced that you'll never get there because haters in your life see the light of God on you. They see the light of God in you. They see the promise of God in your mind, and they resent your faith. They resent your positive outlook. They resent your ability to see out of it because they cannot. But the devil is a liar. Just because you can't get out don't mean I ain't getting out. Just because you stuck don't mean I'm stuck. Just because you can't do it don't mean I can't do it. Somebody lift your hands up and say, Christ is able to make me abound. I got to finish. My exchange came out of nowhere. He gave me, he says, I gave you a garment of praise for the spirit of heaviness. Come on, I dare someone to start trading with God. I'm trading my sorrows for the joy of the Lord. He became sin so that I might be the righteousness of God in Christ Jesus. Are y'all hearing that this glorious gospel is that you completely and wholly depend on Jesus for everything you have, and he is so generous that he gave himself for you. So if he would give himself, would he withhold any of his stuff? Am I convincing somebody? My transformation is astonishing. My God. Some folk is they're going to be troubled by how quickly God turned your life from what it was. Wait a minute. You're not the same person? Oh, you done got brand new on us? Oh, you better than us? No, I ain't better than you. I'm better than I used to be. I'm not comparing myself to you. You got your own journey. God's got, if he birthed you in the same place he birthed me, he must have a plan for your life because he had one for mine. This is the only way I can make sense out of all of the bull. I'm sorry, I know that's crass. I know you're like, Pastor, you shouldn't talk that way. I'm trying to make a point in a real and vernacular without being disrespectful. But the point is when we look back over our life and the stuff we had to endure, the homelessness, the abuse, and the instability, and the hatred, and all of the kind of drama and poverty, and mayonnaise sandwiches, and ketchup sandwich, cold grits, borrowing sugar from the neighbor, come on, putting water in the ketchup bottle. Oh, y'all not hearing what I'm saying? Holes in my shoe, cardboard under my socks, being a stinky kid, got underarm rings in my shirt, can't go to the laundry. Oh, you're not hearing what I'm saying? Got ringworm from playing out in the yard, ain't got no ointment to put on it. Y'all not really hearing what I'm saying? I'm talking about banging on project walls all day, pee in the elevator kind of par. Y'all not right here what I'm saying, but I'm talking about after all I grew up in, shootings and then dealing with grief from my boy getting shot and my friend catching AIDS and this one, crack on my grandmother and my auntie, great-grandfather had AIDS. Y'all not hearing what I'm saying? All the stuff I've been through that I don't talk about, after all that, there's gotta be a purpose for it. I didn't come out of nowhere. I came out of a mess, and that mess was designed that the Spirit of the Lord moved upon the face of the mess, and God said, let there be light, and there was light, and God separated the light from the darkness, and then he took the firmament and he separated the water for me from the waters above. Some of you are in separation season right now, but when God is through with you, there's going to be an order that's going to sustain the blessing of Eden in your life. Somebody holler, it ain't out of nowhere. There is a purpose for my passion. There's going to be ministry from my mess. That my circumstance was just an incubator for my bright future. Slap your neighbor awake and tell him it's not always going to be like this. If you believe it, say yeah. I got to finish this thing. It says, well, who have believed our report? To whom is the arm of the Lord revealed? That word revealed, we try to make it deep, but it means that God actually pulled his shirt up to show you what he's capable of. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I'm singing this because I'm getting happy, Brian. But here is what the text actually says in Psalm 91. That he that dwelleth in the secret place of El Elyon shall abide under the shadow cast by El Shaddai. El Shaddai means burly one. We don't use burly in our language. I think we would call it brolic. I'm talking not jailhouse muscles. I'm talking about Terry Crews. That he revealed his arm to us. He says, but it's going to look like his strength came out of nowhere. He says, for he grew up. This is what I'm trying to say to somebody, is that your revelation of him now is not what it's going to be later. How you see him now, if you keep watching him, he's going to show you that I'm not just a plant sprouting up. I am the tree of life. That I'm not just a suckling growing in the forest, but I've got the potential of an oak tree in me. And if you keep watching him, his revelation of himself will grow as your circumstances provide. Pastor, what do you mean by your circumstances providing? God allows trouble to come so he can reveal another facet of himself. I would have never known him to be a provider if I didn't have a need. Somebody can testify, I would have never known him to be a deliverer if I hadn't needed deliverance. I would have never known him to be a healer if I had never been sick. I would have never known him to be a keeper if he hadn't kept me. Shake your neighbor awake and tell him he is a keeper. I said I would have never known him to be a constant friend if I hadn't experienced loneliness. I would have never known I was accepted in the beloved if I had never been rejected. Shake your neighbor's hand and tell him God is everything I've ever needed. He revealed himself in my need. Let me hear somebody say yes. For he is able to supply all your need according to his riches in glory by Christ Jesus. He has shown himself. The revelation of God has grown in my life through the problems I've experienced. I am not afraid of trouble in the day because God will show himself to be a protector. The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? The Lord is the strength of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid? When the wicked, even mine enemies and my foes, came upon me to eat up my flesh, El Shaddai stepped in. is a root out of dry ground. I said, he is a root out of dry ground. In the most unlikely places, God sprouts up and shows himself mighty. Shake your neighbor's hand like you're going to shake it off and say, God will show up. And because he's a root and I'm the branch, what he does, I will eventually do. Here's the good news. If you believe it, I will blossom in the most unlikely place. It gets gooder than that. I talk about Socrates so I can say it gets gooder. Not only will I blossom in the most unlikely place, but I got a feeling you're going to blossom in the most unlikely timing. See, some of you have been taught he won't bless you till you get it right, but he'll bless you so good that you get right. You ever have a blessing so valuable you don't want to mess it up? And he'll give it to you when you least deserve it, so you know you didn't earn it. I know I got about 4 honest Christians right now that know your most blessed season was when you was acting the stupidest. Ain't no blessing like a in spite of you blessing. Not only will he bless you in the most unlikely place, at the most unlikely time, but he's going to bless you under the most unlikely circumstances. Just when they thought you was done is when the blessing's going to break out in your life. Full time on the job, fresh positions when you don't deserve it, finding love in all the right places. Somebody give God glory for the gracious outpouring of his love in your life. I don't care what they said about me. I'm about to break forth in the best season of my life. Straight out of nowhere to my enemies, but straight out of Christ to me. Shout yes! I need to warn somebody that I reckon that the sufferings of this present world are not worthy to be compared to the glory that's about to be revealed in us. If it's getting dark, I need you to put your shades on. At the darkest hour, I need you to reach in your pocket and put on your sunglasses, because the brightness of the light will outdo the darkness. It's a principle in God. He says, where sin abounds, grace abounds the more. God will not be outdid by the darkness. enemy has been relentless in your life, he's a created being. He don't have the strength of God. Touch 4 people, say, wait on it. Wait on it, 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 wait on it. It's coming. Keep scrolling. It's coming. Keep scrolling. It's coming. Keep scrolling. It's coming. They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength. They will mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. Shake your neighbor awake and tell him God's not through with you yet. There's another chapter to the book. Lift up your heads, O ye gates, and be ye lifted up, ye everlasting doors. The King of glory is coming in. Who is this King of glory? The Lord strong and mighty. I feel like preaching today. Shake your neighbor and hug him and tell him God's got a plan for you. It's going to look like it's coming out of nowhere, but God had it in plan and in store for you. Before I formed you in the womb, I knew you. I ordained you that you should bear fruit and that your fruit would remain. Somebody say, God loves me. He loved me before I knew myself. Before my first birthday, he had plotted out this moment, and I trust his plan. I'm in God's hands. Somebody shout yes. And I am persuaded that neither death, nor life, nor angel, nor power, nor principality, nor height, nor depth, nor life, nor death, nor any other created thing shall separate me from the covenant love of God, which is in Christ Jesus. Smile at your neighbor and say, I'm good. I know it looks bad, but I'm good. I know it looks dark, but I'm good. I'm about to confuse some folk with my attitude. Didn't you just tell me that y'all broke up? Didn't you just tell me that they took the car? Didn't you just tell me that they said no? I'm good. Woman of God, your son had a stroke in the field. Go get the prophet. It's all well with your family. My boy is dead, but it is well. Wait a minute. I thought he had a stroke. You should be crying. No, I'm good. Because I didn't ask for this kid. I told you when you said I could have it, don't play with me. Since you gave it, you got to fix it. Since you gave it, you got to fix it, Lord. Since it's in your will, you got to fix this. You gave me life. Therefore, you got to fix it. Shake your neighbor's hand and say, I'm just trusting God. I'm just trusting him. I'm just trusting. No, I'm just trusting him. I'm just trusting him. I'm just trusting him. I'm done. I'm done. Because this right here, I need this. I need this word in my life. They treating you like you are upstart, like you a neophyte. Like you green, like your breath still smell like Similac. No, I've been on this road a long time. This blessed season didn't just come out of nowhere. It came after years and years of struggling. God kept me through that. And I'm not going to apologize for where he's taking me right now. I'm not going to dumb it down just because you're not comfortable with my next level. I'm not turning down the promotion so I can sit in the break room with broke folk. I'm going to be the boss. And I'm going to be a good boss for Jesus Christ. I'm not sitting at the bitter table with my bitter friends who's lonely. Nope, the Lord sent me a good somebody. Oh, y'all not hearing what I'm saying? They mad because you moving on. We'll be all right. Y'all hearing what I'm saying? Stop apologizing for what's next. It's all right. How did God keep all them folk before they met you? He was doing a good job holding them before you got there. They're going to be fine when you move on. Y'all not really hearing what I'm preaching because, yeah, I know y'all are. That's what preachers say. They just want you to say amen. Every head bowed, every eye closed. Can you just thank God for his promises? If you're here and you don't know Jesus, I know I preached about him today. That everything we have, the peace we have, is because he gave it to us. He exchanged our beef with God. He took it and gave us his peace.